Welcome back. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you for always being so supportive. For every video, every journey is special in their own ways. These are true stories. And today I have another special guest, Yura. She is super generous with her time and also what she's been through to be here with us. I would ask for the respectful audience to just know this is her journey and what she's about to share with us is heartfelt for her and her family. So we want to just be supportive and encouraging to her, and also the things that she may be sharing about some of the doctor's appointments. She may be talking about prescriptions. I would say do your own research, talk to your own physicians. No one here is a primary doctor or a therapist or anything like that. These are her true stories of what she experienced. So, with that, I appreciate you, Yura, for being here. Tell us a little bit more about yourself and also how did everything start?
Okay, well, first of all, Fernaz, thank you so much for having me here. I really appreciate what you're doing for people. And well, my name is Yura. I am originally from Peru, and I've been here for a while, for like over 30 years in the United States. And so I'm a mother, a grandmother. I'm a pet owner. I have a dog that I adore, and I'm a high school teacher, or I was before I got sick. And I love to do all kinds of outdoor activities, walking, hiking. I love walking with my dog, of course. And my main activity is yoga. I practice Ashtanga yoga. And yeah, I like to draw, learn instruments, languages, things like that. And all of that I was doing before I got sick. I mean, on a daily basis. So I got to actually November 21, so the very end of 2021, I got this light cold that we thought it was maybe allergies or some little light thing. I didn't even bother to test for COVID at that time because I found out later was that it was apparently the beginnings of Omicron, which the symptoms were different, than the usual cough and all of these things that people were going through. So after a week or so of like being a little sick, going to work and everything, I started getting weaker and weaker. And I realized that I I felt like I had bronchitis, but I did not have any of the really real symptoms of it besides that tiredness, and that like, heavy breathing kind of. And so I ended up asking, going to the doctor. The doctor is like, okay, well, we might need imaging, so you better go to the hospital. I went to the hospital like 3 times, trying to figure it out. They couldn't find anything. They would like try to come up with things like maybe it's a sinus infection, maybe you're developing maybe bronchospasm and things like that. So they gave me antibiotics. Um, and I really, things would get better for like a few days because I would be resting, and then as soon as I started things, I would feel exhausted again. And it started getting increasingly worse until I ended up one day not being able to actually get out of bed. I had this like what I started calling episodes of extreme fatigue. I had the tinnitus. I had a feeling of being really, really hot. Like my blood was just not moving, like heavy blood. Weird things that I've never felt before, and I had tachycardia and palpitations.
Wow.
So, and I could not move. I
Mm.
could not move. I was just there laying, barely could open my eyes. So this happened about 3 times in a month where like my family had to actually call 911 because, I was not responding, even though I was completely conscious. I
Mm.
could hear everything. I was taken to suburban hospital in Maryland, and they could not come up with anything, like in a way they looked at me like I was crazy, maybe, or making up something, or, um, it was very frustrating, because
Yes.
you don't get that you don't feel like you're getting treated the right way.
Mhm.
And they would just like, take me out the door. Okay, next person. At that time, it was all crowded with COVID patients. So after that, from some friends of mine that started seeing how I was declining, because I started really losing weight. I was not able to eat much. Eventually, I couldn't get out of bed. So I was bedridden for about 3 months
Wow.
until these friends were like, okay, enough. We don't know what to do. At that point, my daughter was taking care of me. She was 21. She had to work. So it was very challenging for her because somebody had to not feed me. I could feed myself, but like bring me the food. I couldn't pretty much get out of the room. So these friends were super sweet and started taking care of everything that had to do with my life, bills, phone calls, emails, things like that. And my friend Nilu, who has been so dear to me for so many years, she managed to take me into GBMC, Greater Baltimore Medical Center. And I was there for 10 days where they thoroughly tested me and everything came out okay. So nobody understood what was happening. They did not treat me like I was crazy at all. They were amazing. And they came up with like two very important things after all of those tests they did. And one of them was, well, first of all, that my yoga practice had really helped me. And the other one was that it was possibly long COVID. At that time, you started just hearing about it,
Right.
but they could not determine it and they could not diagnose it because there was no way to prove it. So in the diagnosis, they just wrote chronic fatigue. After that, uh, I was sent to a rehab center, but they were not prepared at the rehab. I did not feel very safe. Next day, I went back home, try different things like chronic fatigue. Doctors that prescribed me meds that did not hit right at all in many different ways. And even they made me suicidal at one point. And so after that, my friend again managed to bring me back to GBMC and being taken to a better rehab facility, which actually was a lot more helpful. They did a great job and they managed to get me better. I got not completely better, but a lot better than what I was. I was able after that to, walk a little more, move, be able to go to the bathroom. And I started a little bit of my recovery there.
Right.
Um,
Great. I mean, this is a lot for a body to handle.
yeah.
All this that happened to you, and it's exhausting. But it's great to know that yoga helped you, plus you have your friend that took
Mhm,
care of some of the things that you couldn't, the long COVID that you were speaking of. Can you
mhm.
tell us a little bit about how you found out it was long COVID and what did the facilities say you need the treatment?
The first thing was the symptoms, to get the symptoms. Like, as you mentioned, brain fog was a big one. I could not even look at my phone. I still have issues with that. Just looking at the computer. That's why I keep moving my eyes everywhere a little bit. I can't do screens, even TV. I have a certain amount of concentration that I can concentrate and then I get tired. And the tiredness just comes all out here, up here.
Mm.
So they did the symptoms I mentioned before, plus the brain fog and other things. I had no tolerance to cold. I could not even drink cold water or room temperature water. Um, and when I got out of that rehab center, I found a doctor that was had gotten long COVID
Mhm.
from the vaccine. Apparently, he got vaccinated, and like 2 weeks later, he started having all of these symptoms. So he was not specialized, of course, in long COVID, but he started helping people. And between him and then this place where he sent me, which is covidlonghaulers.com, there is, I think, the option for two tests. One of them is the cytokines. And the cytokines are these little tiny protein that are really good for signaling,
Mhm.
self signaling. So they'll let you know things about immune system and inflammation. And
Okay.
that's how we started figuring out long COVID. At that point, I remember my doctor gave me like a list of like 5 different theories because they were not sure, but they were already starting to, cure with this. And at the beginning, the treatment was what they were using at that time was mostly antihistamines like Benadryl, Pepcid AC, blood thinners, like clopidogrel, I think I was using, pravastatin, is an antiplatelet, because they started finding out that there was this mini micro blood clots all over, and blood vessel inflammation. So
Wow.
things that are not easy to figure out unless like you open up the body really, So yeah, that was basically the treatment, and physical therapy I continued at home.
Okay.
you know, um, I was able actually, I mean, I would say I was back to a 60, 70%, was able to go back to work and a modified schedule. And I relapsed again. I relapsed in November of 22, so a year later. And that time I was bedridden for 8 months.
Mm.
So we tried different things with my doctor. He tried all through those 8 months. We were trying different meds, and sometimes it would take 2 months. No, just wait. Another 1, 2 months, even ivermectin. We tried prednisone, many different things, and they wouldn't work. And so I was really, really, really getting scared now because I felt like even breathing was too much effort for my body.
Yeah.
I was again bedridden. I was not able to get up from my bed. And so I was taken again to the hospital, emergency room. This time they were a lot more understanding. This time they knew a little better what could be going on. I asked to please be taken to the same rehab center where they sent me. They got me a little better there. Not great, not like the last time. Physical therapy at home. And then I found this great functional medicine place, the Kaplan Center in McLean, Virginia. And for that, well, we had to actually a friend of mine had to do a GoFundMe because it's out of pocket. These things don't get covered by insurance. A lot of the supplements I take are not covered by insurance. The meds are, but the rest isn't. And so they put me on a lot of like different meds that are for the brain, like lithium, doses, sinaltrexone, which is for the neurotransmitters, and everything is supposed to bring down inflammation because long COVID or COVID actually, is an inflammatory disease. And of course, the main thing that I didn't mention yet that got COVID did is like an inflammation to my nervous system. So when I was down, it was pretty much my fight or flight or freeze that my body just would go into freeze, and like the deer when he sees the headlights,
Yes.
and
I,
be completely, immobile. So with all kinds of supplements that I did not even know, good for circulation, for all kinds of things. I'm taking, I think, like 10 or more different things. I started definitely getting better with that, and physical therapy, meditation, relaxation, a non-inflammatory diet. So couldn't eat any dairy, any sugar, no gluten. And I started getting better and recovering. I've been a year in recovery now.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's
Thank you.
been a long road for you.
Whew. It feels like it never ends, but I don't really even think about it. I
Sure,
just go day by day,
sure.
you know.
And thank God we're here, right? Thank God to,
Yes,
yeah,
yes. I mean, it's unbelievable. Like every day I start thinking, oh my gosh, thank you. Thank you. You know, gratitude is an enormous thing in going through life. Thank you for, if I can move my eyes, if I can, breathe, if I can, anything, anything I can do, I can enjoy this beautiful view in the window or, whatever it is. And I really just take it day by day at this point. There's
good.
weird things like still happen, like chest pains, for example, that they have no explanation. And sometimes I'm like, okay, well, chest pain, and of course it sounds scary.
Yeah.
You don't know what's gonna happen, right? But I'm like, okay, whatever. It's just like I'll continue.
I think with all the research down the line with long COVID, and like you mentioned, inflammation is huge when people have COVID.
Mhm.
That's something that happened to me. I had to go through physical therapy myself and can feel I need to be on an anti-inflammatory diet to help me. And physical therapy had been just amazing in my life. So it's
Mhm.
good to hear that you've gone through all the steps. Of course, going through the getting the kit, getting tested to make sure it's long COVID, and in future to have all the science and all the proof of what really happened. And things can take time for that to happen. And I know you mentioned, I know there's so much that we can cover, but because of our
Yeah.
time, we can always bring you back and talk more about this. But out of curiosity, I know you mentioned yoga helped you. What other, and your friendships and your community, can you tell us a little bit about if someone's dealing with something that you went through? How can they get the help they need? What do they do? What encouraging words can you give them?
Well, definitely the first one, it's gonna be don't give up, don't give up, don't ever give up. I can't tell you how many times people came that I didn't even know, like that in the rehab center, in the hospital, the nurses, they're like, you're gonna get through this. Just don't get depressed. Don't be down. You're gonna get through this. Everything passes. I had a physical therapist says like, don't worry about things you cannot control. Just like, breathe. And it's funny because I have so many years of yoga experience, and of course, even though I have it all inside of me, all the things that I've learned, and I mean, yoga has helped me with things like battling diabetes, and that if I had it, forget it. This would have been a different story, But I was able to control that thanks to the discipline that yoga brought me. So I really recommend. I mean, if not yoga, that helps in so many ways. Some sort of exercise and meditation, you know, mindfulness, all of the things that are going to help you think more clearly, be present, a community, have a life of service where you feel good that you're doing things for others. And then you'll get all of that back too, I mean, don't do it thinking of that, but you will need it. We are social animals. We need each other. We need words. We need to hear I love yous.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm getting a little emotional.
True,
But
very true. It's missing in our world, Yura. We're
yes.
missing that human interaction and understanding other people's pain because we focus so much of our own pain.
And another thing is if you're dealing with some medical issue, do your research. Don't let the doctors just tell you things. Do the research and go early on whatever things you feel, like if you're having high blood pressure, like what could that be if you're having, whatever issues are going on now with you, search, right? We have this amazing, internet that sometimes we have to be careful with because you don't know what, but try to go to a reliable resource and try to find out these things. But definitely, even if you feel like you're in your last breath, my advice is don't give up.
Yes.
Don't give up because I've lived through this. I
I
am witness that it can happen.
I know you and I talked about like our mental health, and with
Yes,
like the challenges of the life, we get to have more patience and be able to control what's happening in the moment, just being present. And I know pain and suffering can actually help us in
mhm,
the long run. So it's not that is something we ask for, that we want to be in pain, obviously not, but it does help us to have a different perspective that people can be in a worse position than
exactly.
we are right now. So I just can't thank you enough. Again, like, for people that are watching, Yura had mentioned how she was able to do her own research and advocate for herself. I think it's extremely important. Do go into covidlonghaulers.com. I will put that link for everybody that you can understand. Obviously, you mentioned the insurance doesn't cover that. So there is a lot of out of pocket, but if there's a lot of unknown, not sure what is going on with your body, advocate for yourself. Do your research, ask questions. I think that's another thing, Yura, that we all get
Yes.
scared to ask a lot of questions, right?
Yes. And also like whatever, be very what is the word? Be very aware of how you feel. This is why it's so good to have a good connection with your body,
Yes.
because there is over 200 symptoms for long COVID. They're all not like mine, depending on what your weakest system is, or it will get you that way. So pay attention to your body, how you're normally, what happened after I got the COVID, you know, and keep an eye on that.
Yes, yes. And reach out to the people that are going through the same thing, exchange homeworks.
Exactly.
You just never know what more information like you can receive from the other person, and similarity in some of the symptoms. But I just wanted to thank you so much, Yura, for taking the time. I know I don't want to take up a lot of your energy. I know you're still dealing a little bit of that
Yeah.
of, we're trying to do this in the morning so you don't get tired. But I pray for you and your family, that I'm so happy that you have all the support from your mom and your daughters and your granddaughter and your dog and your cat. So you are already loved and surrounded, and so happy for you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm so lucky to have the community I have. I mean, my family, friends, neighbors. I mean, really, I cannot ask for more.
Yes, and we thank you again for being here. For those that have watched the video, please subscribe, hit your notification button, share this with someone that you know is struggling with the similar symptoms, and reach out to me. I can provide Yura's information to you. Yura, what would be the best form if anyone wants to talk to you, to contact you?
Well, we can do, I don't know, there is all the social media, I guess, that I am there on Instagram, I am on Facebook, and I guess through here, if they have any questions, I will keeping definitely an eye on it, and I'm more than happy to help. I mean, really,
Thank you,
you
Yura.
can give me phone calls, whatever you need, like really.
Once again, thank you all for watching and your support. And if there's any stories that you want to share, please let me know, and I'd be glad to pay it forward and share your story. Again, thank you, Yura.
Thank you so much, Fernaz. Thank you again for what you're doing,
Of course,
and have a wonderful, wonderful day. It was beautiful being here.